Have you ever logged into your banking app after a long month, seen that savings balance tick over to $20,000, and felt this quiet rush? Not the kind that makes you jump up and celebrate, but a subtle one, like a weight lifting off your chest just a bit. Maybe you've been scraping together extra from side gigs or cutting back on those little luxuries, and suddenly, there it is. Proof that your efforts are adding up. But then comes the whisper. Okay, now what? Is this enough to really change things? Or am I still just one bad month away from starting over? It's that mix of pride and uncertainty that hits right in the gut, especially when life's throwing curveballs like rising rent or family needs pulling at your wallet. What if hitting that 20K milestone isn't just a number? It's the spark that shifts how you see money altogether, building a confidence you didn't know you needed. I remember when it happened for me a few years back. I'd been chipping away. Nothing dramatic, just consistent transfers after payday. But staring at that figure, it felt like crossing an invisible line. Most of us misunderstand these milestones. We think they're about hitting some arbitrary goalpost like, now I'm secure. Society pushes this idea that big savings only matter. If you're aiming for millions, or that 20K is pocket change in today's world, headlines scream about retirees needing 7 figures, or influencers flaunting their portfolios. It makes the whole thing feel out of reach for regular folks like us, grinding through jobs that pay the bills but leave little wiggle room. We grow up hearing money stories that glorify the extremes, rags to riches tales or warnings about debt, traps. And honestly, it's normal to downplay our own progress. Work stress piles on, unexpected car repairs hit, and suddenly, building savings feels like a luxury. No blame here. Our brains are wired to focus on immediate threats, undervaluing the slow build. But let's reframe it. 20K isn't the endgame. It's a quiet turning point where psychology kicks in, proving to yourself that you can build something real, easing that constant undercurrent of what if without needing a windfall. Let me bring this to life with someone I know. Let's call her Lena, a nurse in her mid-30s juggling shifts and 2 kids. In a world where healthcare costs keep climbing, she started stashing away $200 a month into a simple high-yield account. Nothing fancy, just what she could spare after groceries and school fees. It took a couple years, but when she hit 20K, it wasn't fireworks. It was this steady calm. Psychologically, milestones like this trigger what's called a confidence cascade in behavioral studies. Once you see tangible proof of your discipline, it rewires your self-view. Before, Lena's money thoughts were laced with scarcity. Every expense felt like a risk, leading to short-term choices like skipping family outings to save. But crossing 20K? It showed her system worked. Now, zoom into the math to make it real. Say you sock away $300 monthly at a conservative 4% return, it takes about 5 years to reach 20K. That's $18,000 contributed, plus $2,000 in growth. Simple, right? But the power is in the habit. It's not technical wizardry, just consistency compounding like a snowball gathering speed. Think about Raj, a freelance writer I met through friends, who's in his late 20s navigating the gig economy. He hit 20K by mixing emergency savings with some index fund investments. Started small during the pandemic when work was spotty. The emotional layer? Before that milestone, time anxiety ruled. Will I afford rent if clients flake? Family pressure. Added to it, with parents hinting at stability. But reaching 20K flipped the script subtly. Behavioral psych explains this through locus of control, shifting from feeling money happens to you to knowing you influence it. Raj's example, that buffer meant he could turn down low-pay gigs without panic, freeing mental space for better opportunities. And the numbers ground it. 20K at 7% average market return could grow to 28K in 3 years without adding more. It's not about getting rich. It's seeing how small wins accumulate, reducing that knot in your stomach when bills arrive. Or consider Mike, a teacher pushing 40, with a mortgage and aging parents to support. He built his 20K through automatic deductions, treating it like a non-negotiable bill. The deep dive here ties into how we handle stress. Studies show financial cushions like this lower cortisol levels, that fight-or-flight hormone spiking during work crunches or family emergencies. Before 20K, Mike's lifestyle was reactive. Impulse buys to unwind after tough days, or delaying home repairs out of fear. But hitting it? It created breathing room. Emotionally, it's relatable. Think of that late-night worry about job loss or medical surprises. The milestone proves you're not as vulnerable, blending psychology with practical math. If 20K covers 6 months of basics, say $3,300 monthly, it's a real safety net, not abstract. This leads us to that core realization, the turning point where the fog starts to clear. It's not about the 20K as a magic threshold. It's understanding that reaching it boosts your inner confidence, shifting money from a source of anxiety to a tool for quiet control. You begin making decisions differently. Instead of, I can't afford that, it's, does this align with building more? That mindset pivot changes everything. No more viewing savings as a chore, but as evidence of your capability. Psychologically, it fosters resilience. Research on goal attainment shows one win like this sparks motivation for next steps, like diversifying into low-risk investments. Connecting to freedom, imagine declining overtime that burns you out, knowing your buffer buys time. Or easing, family talks, without that tense undercurrent. For me, growing up with money as a hushed worry, dinners where bills loomed, it was liberating. Hitting 20K showed ordinary consistency compounds into peace, reducing that time anxiety by proving progress is possible without extremes. So, what does this look like in your everyday? Let's keep it grounded. No radical overhauls. Once you're at 20K, reflect on what got you there. Maybe automate a bit more, bumping contributions as raises come. Think about splitting it wisely. Part in easy access savings for emergencies, part in something like a broad fund for growth. If you're newer, scale next steps proportionally. Aim to add $5K more by year's end through small tweaks, like reviewing subscriptions or freelancing an hour weekly. Use psychology smartly. Celebrate quietly, like a favorite meal, to reinforce the habit without splurging. I've seen friends do this. A couple hit 20K, then focused on debt payoff, freeing cash flow without hustle. Life throws curves, job changes, family needs. So maintain flexibility, perhaps reviewing quarterly to adjust. Tie it to what matters. Less work stress, more lifestyle ease. It's realistic. As confidence builds, so do opportunities, like negotiating better pay, knowing you have a cushion. For someone like you, amid real pressures, maybe family pulling strings or that sense of time slipping in your prime, start with one gentle next step. Assess if 20K feels secure, then eye 30K by nurturing what worked. If it's investments, keep it simple, no betting big. Over time, as growth kicks in, it snowballs. And remember, this isn't about perfection today. It's balancing now with a calmer tomorrow. Folks I've known say it transformed quietly. Security. During layoffs, joy without guilt. As we wrap, let this settle a moment. That 20K milestone isn't a finish line. It's your quiet proof that small, steady moves create real momentum. It's fine if next steps feel vague now. They often do at first. But know you're not alone. We all wrestle these feelings. Progress, even gradual, outshines standing still. So take a breath, acknowledge that win, and let it guide you forward. You'll look back and think, that was the spark. Thanks for this time together. Here's to steadier paths ahead.